ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। In this second khanda of the first Mundaka of this Mundaka Upanishad of Atharvana Veda, the mantras here actually praise karma, praise action, praise Vedic rituals, and announce, declare, proclaim that these karmas definitely give results. They are not some show. They are not some empty show. They do have the results that are talked of in the Vedas themselves. That is how, as you may remember, the very first expression as this khanda or section began was Tadetat Satyam. This indeed is true. What is true? Whatever the rishis saw in those mantras which describe karmas, rituals, and whatever the rishis saw as the promised results, all that is true. Whether it is for the benefit of the society, such as bringing rains, or for a family, such as having progeny, a daughter or a son, or some long life of somebody, a king, or anybody for that matter. In numerous ways, the rituals in the religious scriptures have been described as having particular results, outcomes, and tadetat satyam. Do not doubt it. Even these days, at places they perform rituals, and we hear that some astounding results do come, though nowadays the faith level in general is less in vast majority of people. And one reason for that is, from a believer's point of view, we should say, some rituals might not have been performed properly, or even if the ritual is performed properly, the people who performed them might not have had the true eligibility. It is a matter to be noted that for rituals to be truly effective, those who perform should have a lifestyle. Suppose a ritual goes on for 10 days, some Vedic rituals where mantras are chanted and offerings are made into fire. Please do not think that the whole matter is limited to those 10 days. Much before the yajna or yaga, homa or havana began, the priests, the yajamana, that is the one for whose benefit the priests perform the ritual, will have to observe certain vows, certain do's and don'ts. There is a whole science of inner consciousness involved here. The consciousness of everybody involved has to rise to a certain level, and in those 10 days the ritual is performed. Then the effect will come about. So it's quite an involved science. Actually, the Upanishad itself is coming to how complicated this karma vibhaga is. But in no way the karma vibhaga is declared as false. It's not false. It does give results. But there are some ifs and buts. Someone handles them all properly, will definitely get the results. So the first mantra advised us Satyakamaha, those who want sure results. Satya here is sure. Kamaha, desirous. Satyakamaha, tani acharata. Please perform them and get the benefits. Just as in modern times, we would encourage young people to get into various enterprises or to begin with, to get into esteemed universities, get some coveted degrees, qualification, saying, do them and you will be in good position later. But all of us know in our heart of hearts that good degrees from great universities and positions or jobs with a lot of income are not the end of the story. All of them, number one, halfway through the process may get derailed. Many a product from esteemed universities doesn't reach all the heights at all. A lot of them, even after they get those great qualifications, fall by the side. They get distracted, they get diverted, and many factors actually make them go so down that people from ordinary colleges with ordinary degrees are seen to be doing much better. So there are many slips between the cup and the lip in today's vision of a well lived life. Though elders always try to advise young people, do this and you will be having a great future. The so called great future is not so easy to guarantee. If your children are doing very well, thank the stars, thank God. It's not just because of the studies or the education they had, there would have been many other factors. When everything falls in place, then yes, our sons, our daughters are not only in socially respected positions, but internally too are pretty happy, they're balanced, and so on. So, in a holistic sense, if the life of somebody blossoms in a very nice manner, I would once more say, thank God, thank the stars, holistically from all angles of view. Not easy. So that was an analogy once more. The present context is karma. In karma vibhaga, the second mantra we saw last time, it was said that in order that these karmas actually give the results, one has to pratipadayet. The last word of the second mantra we saw was pratipadayet. One must offer, one must throw into the fire to Havya Vahana, that is the name of fire. Into fire, the performer should offer the offerings at the right time, at the right place, in the right way, and so on. So, the last sentence we saw in the Bhāshya commentary by Adi Shānkara on the second mantra of the second khanda of the first mundaka was Aneka aha prayoga apekshaya ahutihi iti bahuvachanam. The plural offerings in the mantra was justified, saying it's not about just one morning or one evening, referring to Agnihotra, which is a representative of all the rituals here. What is said, what is talked about applies to numerous rituals, but Agnihotra is taken as a representative, as an example. And since it is to be done day after day, the offerings are used grammatically in plural. Now comes the what we call fine print. These days you have some great advertisements of some products, some sale offer, and everything is very attractive. And then there is a star somewhere, and then at the bottom of the whole advertisement, there is something in fine print, that is small letters. And you would say, sometimes it's very general. What those conditions are, we will have to check. Anyway, likewise in the Karma Vibhaga, let's read this. The third mantra, I would say about first six mantras cover this area of karma, praise them, extol them, but then show the limitations. Then there is some little discussion. There is a little discussion on vanaprastha, semi-withdrawal from the field of karma. Or in modern times, if you and I could withdraw to an extent, to a good extent, from what Swami Chinmayananji used to call the field of earning and spending, the field of, he was using an expression, eking out a livelihood. Um, for a livelihood, not just any livelihood, a respectable livelihood in our society. We are into it for decades generally, and then we withdraw from them. The younger generation is into that. We become semi, you know, renounced, not fully renounced. That will come up in this khanda later. But the third mantra, first of all, is introduced by Bhāshyakara. Bear with me, I'll read the couple of sentences before the mantra itself begins. Yeshaha samyak ahuti prakshepadi lakshanaha karma margaha loka praptaye panthaha. This karma marga, whether it is easy or difficult, is indeed the way, the path, panthaha. Or in Sanskrit, another word we have patha. Patha of Sanskrit is path of English. Panthaha. So, loka praptaye. Swargaloka, Pitraloka, some other Brahmaloka. There are so many lokas. Once more, we have said this many times, I guess, before. There are 6 worlds above the earth and 7 below. So 7 below the earth and 6 above together, Chaturdasha lokaha Shastreshu udahriyante, Shastreshu uchyante. 14 lokas are mentioned, and we talked a little about it in the previous class. Each loka has its own space and time, and really speaking, these lokas could be intersecting with each other also in a sense. Therefore, we should not imagine that the space and time that we see has everything in it. No, this loka is just one of the aspects of creation. There are many other lokas which are not contained within this loka. We look up and see the moon, see the sun, we see the stars, and then it's very typical for students of the scriptures to wonder, I wonder where Swarga is. Maybe in that direction, maybe in this direction. And Naraka should be down somewhere. So we want to place Swarga, Naraka, etc. in this space-time continuum as we know in modern science, but the spiritual science is a cut above ordinary science. Therefore, we call it metaphysics. Metaphysics begins where physics ends, said somebody. So Sri Shankaracharya says, the soul which can travel from one packet of space and time to another packet of space and time, This soul now wishes to go to Swarga, let us say. What is the way? How is the soul to do it? Karma. Karma is the pantha. Karma margaha pantha. But then, tasya samyak karanam dushkaram. Doing it properly is not easy. Everyone dreams of great results. I once was for a few days at the fabulous campus of Indian School of Business in Hyderabad. For 10 days or so, I had gone for giving some lectures, etc. During that time, a young boy, about 17-year-old or so, came with his parents to visit me. Very restless soul. And his parents had a hard time with him. Even now, they have a hard time with him because he is not self disciplined. He came and he saw, he was excited to see the beautiful campus. And then I remember he said, "This is the kind of institution where I want to study. I want to get admission here." Now, that's a wonderful thing. That aspiration is okay. But both his parents said to him, "Dear son, you have not done well even in your 10th grade. In your 11th grade, again, you are not studying properly. Even just to pass this 11th grade, 12th grade seems to be difficult for you. And you want to do MBA at this advanced and much coveted Indian School of Business, which has, perhaps I mentioned that in an earlier class too, which has collaboration with Kellogg's University in Chicago and another in the east coast of US also. So, but he was so charmed by the beautiful 50-acre campus and magnificent buildings, everything, facilities. I want to be here. But if you want to be here, you must study well. You must work at least 3 or 4 hours with proper focus, and then we can work out. Of course, he didn't know, that boy didn't know. First, you have to get a degree and then work for some years. Then the eligibility for that particular institution would be fulfilled. Now, you and I also want to do karma and go to heaven. But karma is not easy. Shankaracharya says, Tasya means karmanaha, samyak karanam dushkaram. Difficult. Further, last sentence in his what we call sangati or connecting words, vipattayaha tu anekaha bhavanti. Lot of vipattis. Vipatti is dangers, risks. Lot of trappings are right there in this performance of karma. Katham, why do you say that? What difficulties exist in performance of karma? The mantra 3 says, YasyagniHotram adarshamapaurnamasam achaturmasyam anagrayanam atiti varjitancha ahutam avaishvadevam avidinahutam asaptaman stasya lokan hinasti. The first two verses were very encouraging. As I said, some advertisements, very attractive advertisements. Then in fine print, there are things which are not to our taste. It is said, if somebody performs Agnihotra properly, the results are guaranteed. But if there are some lapses, if there are some errors in his performance, for example, adarsham, there is an associated karma which has to be done together. That's called darsha. And if that darsha is not done, that is one error. Or darsha has been done, there is another associated ritual called Paurnamasa. something related to Purnima, I guess. And if that is not done, and then there is something that is to be done once in 4 months, or probably for a duration of 4 months, Chaturmasyam. These are associated activities, associated rituals. If that is not done, and then there is one Agrayanam, which has to be done during the season of autumn. Sharadadishu kartavyam, says Bhāshya later. And when we are performing rituals, it's not that you close your campus and just do by yourselves. You must welcome guests. You must do Atiti Satkara. Therefore, the fourth lapse could be Atiti Varjitam. Atiti Varjitam is fifth. Adarsham, Apaurnamasam, Achaturmasyam, Anagrayanam, and Atiti Varjitam. Then you have the sixth one, Ahutam. Ahutam should not be mistaken as not done at all, but what is meant is not done at the right time. Somebody, let's say in modern times, has to do Prata Sandhya Vandanam. Sandhya Vandana, a certain ritual which is a combination of several things where Gayatri Japa is a prominent part. Prata Sandhya Vandanam, he has to do it in the morning, and he does it at 1:30 in the afternoon. He gets up late, then rushes to his shop if he is a little businessman in the small town, and very busy, comes home at 1:30 for lunch. Then he says, "Oh, I did not do my Sandhya Vandana. In our family for generations we have been doing it." So quickly he sits down, and even as his wife is putting his lunch plate, he just does in 5 minutes. Then that's not Agnihotra. I am giving a parallel. The so-called Sandhya Vandana, Prata Sandhya Vandana, was done at Madhyana, and then he chants some Prayaschitta mantra for the fault of doing it at the wrong time. I say Achyutaya Nama, Anantaya Nama, Govindaya Nama. May Lord Narayana forgive me, and may Lord Narayana with his grace make this little ritual complete, even though otherwise it's not complete. May he make it error free. Lord Narayana also may do it once or twice, but this fellow day after day does Prata Sandhya Vandana in the afternoon. So that is as good as not done. Ahutam. And seventh is Avaishwadevam, another associated karma. Just as in today's world also, whenever we do a few things, in any major exercise, there is a primary part, and then there are a number of secondary parts. Everything has to fall in place. Even to conduct a YouTube session like this, it's not just speaking. You have to have the internet connection, the particular password, particular account, particular settings. And today, because some laptop issues came up, I was 6 minutes late. So if everything is not taken care of, let's say the speaker is well equipped with the thoughts to share, and the audience are very eager to hear, but these associated arrangements are also important. So in both Laukika and Vaidika karmas, there are associated activities. Vaishwakarma Deva is yet another, and suppose it is done at the right time but not in the right way. That is the eighth and last mention. There are many more, I am sure, but this mantra mentions 8 errors, 8 lapses, which can mar the performance of Agnihotra. So we say, if one of these errors takes place at my hands, what will happen? The last line of the mantra says, rather in a strong language, A Saptaman lokan tasya hinasti. Hinasti, hins is to injure, to mar, to spoil, to destroy, to come in the way of results accruing to you. So, hinasti, idam agnihotram, idam karma, lokan hinasti. We will see soon that there are two meanings for the 7 lokas. One of them at present is the possibility of reaching one of those 7 higher lokas. Technically, it may be 6 above the earth, but the idiomatic expression is 7 above and 7 below. Including the earth, it is 7 above. Bhuhu, Bhuaha, Suaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. These are the 7 lokas. None of them will be available to a performer who has these lapses. Even one of the lapses. Terrible this is. That means so much of time and energy spent all goes down the drain. Yes, all goes down the drain. It is much din and roar. It is, as one of the plays of Shakespeare was titled, Much Ado About Nothing. Here we have to say, much ado without achieving anything. There it was much ado about anything. It's a slight difference, of course. The simple commentary by Sri Shānkara Acharya goes, Yasya agnihotrinaha agnihotram adarsham. The person performing agnihotra is called agnihotri. Agnihotri is the performer. Yasya agnihotrinaha agnihotram adarsham darsha akhyena karmana varjitam. But what is this darsha akhya karma? Akhya means named. What is this additional ritual that is named as darsha? Bhāshyakara says, Agnihotribihi avashya kartavyatvat darshasya agnihotri sambandhi agnihotra visheshanam iva bhavati. It is a secondary ritual which is avashya kartavya, which is necessarily to be done, not an option, not an elective. In college studies, we have main subjects and then there are some elective subjects. You may take them, you get credit for it. Then there's a third category. When I was in college years ago, perhaps it continues that system. There's a third category where you may audit some subjects, not credit. That is, you are so interested in some subject that you go and attend. But in your marks card or in your achievements, there will be no entry of it. It's for your personal enrichment. If some teacher, if some professor, if somebody is so fascinating and you wish to hear her, you wish to hear him, you may go and audit those subjects. So here, avashya kartavya, this agnihotra ke saath, along with agnihotra, this darsha has to be done. It's therefore an associated sadarsham or adarsham, you can say. When the associated necessary side ritual is done, agnihotra is sadarsham. Sa means sahita. When that is missed out, it is adarsham. I need not give any example, nor have I thought of anything specific, but in general, anything and everything. Even in a nice recital of music. Today I had set Anushka Shankar's sitar 10 minutes before this class, but because of other technical difficulties, nobody could hear it. Imagine Anushka Shankar, the great Ravi Shankar's daughter, is playing sitar, and suppose there is no tabla behind, then true lovers of music say, why is there no tabla? The tabla and some accompaniments are a must. In food also, those who are connoisseurs of food would always expect, if it's South Indian, if it's Gujarati food, if it's Punjabi food, there are certain, I'm no expert on it, I better not give an example, but there are certain associated things. They have to be along with the main course. Then only it is a proper South Indian meal, a Gujarati meal, a proper Punjabi meal. Likewise, avashya kartavya. Tad avik akriyamanam. If it's not done, then the results are quite terrible. Likewise, apaurunamasam ityadishu api agnihotra visheshanatvam drashtavyam. So the 8 words here, like you had adarsham apaurunamasam, achaturmasyam, anagrayanam, atiti varjitancha, ahutam, avaishvadevam, and avidinahutam. These are 8 adjectives to that one noun, Agnihotram. Agnihotram is the noun, and these 8 are descriptors. Shānkara says you have to see all of them as qualifiers for that one word, Agnihotra. Agnihotra anangatvasya avishishtatvat. If it were not to be a part of Agnihotra, then it would have no place to be mentioned here. And similarly, apaurunamasam is paurnamasa karma varjitam. So details of those karmas are not given, but as we mentioned before, it's something connected with Purnima, the full moon night, or the day, the night of which would be full moon. And then a chaturmasyam. There's a chaturmasya karma. Then there is agrayanam, sharadadishu kartavyam. Based on time, based on season. Like, if I may, with my very limited knowledge of music, if I may say, there are some ragas which are to be sung in the morning only. Some ragas are to be sung in the evening. And people like me who don't know much classical music may not know. We may just play some piece. In fact, as I play some music sometimes on some occasions before a class or so, I have no idea whether it could be played during evening or not. In a YouTube class like this, suppose I play a classical piece just for warm up in the beginning, and suppose it is not to be played in the evening, I have a nice way of justifying. This class is during morning for people in the West. So it is keeping them in mind that I played this Sayam Raga. And suppose, rather, Prata or Prata Raga. And suppose it is a evening piece, then right at this time it is evening for all the Indians listening to this class. So this is some cleverness that everybody has to have at times. So Atiti Varjitam, the earlier one was connected to Sharad, autumn, season of autumn, which I guess in the West they call fall. So Atiti Varjitam, Atiti Pujanam, Ahani Ahani Akriyamanam Yasya. As all of you know, in Kathopanishad, that father of Nachiketa was quite miserly. He did not want to part with many valuable things. So he would treat the guests with something paltry, something spoilt, something which was not usable. Like in the Kathopanishad, you have the mantras, they write in the beginning. He had kept some cows ready to be given away in dana, and those cows were so old and perhaps they would die on the way to the home of the recipient. Such cows he had kept. So all that would disqualify the ritual as regards results. Swayam samyag agnihotra kale ahutam. The sixth descriptive was ahutam, and that doesn't mean literally not done, but not done at the right time. Samyag agnihotra kale nahutam is ahutam. And then there is avaishwadevam, certain ritual called Vaishwadeva, that has not been done. See, all of them need not be done every day, but what is implied is when any of them needs to be done at its proper time, like some are seasonal, we said already. And then out of laziness or out of ignorance, we have a statement, right? Ignorance is no excuse for law. If you break a law and then say, I did not know, they say ignorance is no excuse for law. You broke the law, you need to pay fine, or you will have to meet with the consequences. Ignorance is no excuse for law. Such is the case with this Vedika Karma Kanda also. It is said, Avaishwadeva, Vaishwadeva Kama Huyamanamapi, the last eighth one is Avidhinahutam. Vidhi means right way, Avidhi means wrong way. Here, Avidhina means not done in the right way. Evam dussampaditam asampaditam agnihotradi upalakshitam karma kim karoti? A question is raised. All right, if I did not do it properly, or I did it with certain errors. Sampadana here is performing, putting together sampadana. Sometimes an editor of a journal is called sampadaka. You know why? He collects sampadana. He collects, arranges, checks, and verifies that they are appropriate to the journal being published, and everything is curated by him, so to say. Likewise, this priest or priests and Yajamana, all of them, they put together Agnihotra. Either it is not done properly or done in wrong ways, which are pretty much the same. Agnihotra the upalakshitam karma. Kim karoti? Agnihotra is only upalakshana, means it is representative. There are many karmas, numerous karmas. In the last class, I had compared this with a high scale science parallel, some kind of nuclear experiment. And if it is not done properly, some leakage, some radiations, disastrous, destructive effects come about. Was it 3 years ago or so in Bangalore? There was a splendid air show. All these beautiful planes of Air Force going in the sky and making various beautiful patterns and moving in unbelievable ways. And since there was some error on their part, several pilots died. Several pilots of great fame who on such occasions earlier had really got very good name for their skills, met with their end. It was a very sad incident. So whether it is certain projects, experiments, or some kind of show, errors can cost a lot. All kinds of accidents. The recent one in Kozhikode in Kerala, what a terrible accident as the plane from the Gulf came and rather than landing properly, overshot the runway and went into some civilian area and went up in flames and all that. So all these are to be kept in mind as parallels for what is being discussed. Vedika karma with all the charm about them, suppose are not done properly, kim karoti? Saptaman. Saptama sahitan lokan hinasti. Hinasti, literally taken, it destroys those worlds. It doesn't destroy those worlds. It destroys the possibility of your reaching those worlds. You were to go there, you were to enjoy them, but that would not happen. Therefore, what is meant is hinasti iva. Iva means as though. As though it destroyed the world. For you, there is no swarga. Swarga is not otherwise affected. Then what do I get? The performer asks, ayasa matra. After performing all of that, the only result for you is you will be extremely tired. You will be exhausted. In Florida, there is one Disney World, and there is one section called Epcot Center. It's a very famous, very popular center. Its actual expansion is experimental prototype for culture of tomorrow, EPCOT. But a good-humored guide said to some people who had gone to the Epcot Center, part of the Disney World, enjoyed, but at the end of the day they were so exhausted. He said while he was accompanying them in a bus that was taking them all to the place where they had, you got to be tired because Epcot means every person comes out tired. That was a new expansion he had created. Epcot is every person comes out tired. Ayasa matra phalatvat. In that example, of course, the fellows had enjoyed, but here you only struggled and labored and finally left with empty hands. Samyak kriyamaneshu hi karmasu karma parinama anurupena bhuradayah satya antaha saptalokaha phalam prapyante. So prapyante plural goes with saptalokaha. Saptalokaha prapyante phalarupena. These 7 worlds would be obtained, prapyante, bhuh adayah, starting with bhuh, satya antaha, ending with satya. As I said, bhuh, bhuvaha, suvaha, maha, janaha, tapaha, satyam. These are part of some mantras that you chant here and there. Om bhuh, om bhuvaha, om suvaha, om maha, om janaha, om tapaha, om satyam. Like that they say. Om tat saviturvarenyam, etc. in some mantras. If you and I have not done much, but I have done a little ritual here and there, little karma, little puja, a little. So these are popular mantras. Otherwise, you know very well, the first 3 are mentioned extensively. Om bhur bhuva swaha tat saviturvarenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo na prachodayat in Gayatri mantra. Bhuh, bhuvaha, suvaha are mentioned. They are called 3 vyahritis. They do represent the 3 worlds, and by upalakshana, implication, all the 7 worlds, all the 14 worlds. Having said, some of you may wonder, why is that added to Gayatri Mantra? One of the interpretations we find in standard translations and commentaries is, before you actually recite the Gayatri Mantra, you mention this bhuh, bhuvaha and suvaha, implying that I pray to that Almighty whose rule, whose lordship, whose prabhutva pervades all the worlds. He is not just the Lord of the earth, he is the Lord of heavens, he is the Lord of all the worlds. Like in the Bible, in Christianity, they have a statement, thy will be done on this earth as it is in heaven, which implies, Lord, everything happens by your will in the heaven, and so it is on this earth. Who am I to question? Thy will be done on the earth as in the heavens. They have that. So bhuh, bhuah, vah, suvaha, and so on. Is there a connectivity problem? I hope not. Something it is showing here. It's simple. Shankara's language is pleasing. Saptaloka, one meaning therefore is the seven domains, the seven worlds. Te lokaha evam bhutena agnihotradi karmana tu apraप्यत्वात् hinsyante iva. Adi Shankara again takes care. Hinsyante, not to be taken literally, nothing happens to those worlds. Hinsyante iva means you don't get them. As far as you are concerned, they are, as good as dead. Ayasa matram tu avyabhichari ityato hinasti ityuchyate. Whether you successfully do it in a proper way or you do in an improper way, both involve a lot of strain, lot of ayasam. Ayasam avyabhichari. Vyabhichari means changing. There is no change in right way as well as wrong way. There is lot of suffering, lot of, if not suffering, exertion. Call it exertion. Pindadanadi anugrahena va sambadhyama. Second meaning is given by Adi Shankara because seven are mentioned. These seven need seven lokas. Even if the word loka is given in the mantra, it means the happy results, beneficial results that could come to 7 generations. Loka, take it as in a general way, happy results. Loka sometimes means karma phala. Happy results, happy karma phala that could come to people, and you are doing something wrong will affect the benefits of 7 generations. So who are these 7 generations? Very patiently, Bhagavan Bhāshya writes, Pitra, father, Pitamaha, grandfather, Prapitamaha, great-grandfather, one end. Putra, son, Pautra, grandson, and Prapautra, great-grandson. So 3 this side, and you yourself in the middle. Therefore, together it is 700, not 700, 7 generations. Ukta prakarena agnihotradina na bhavanti iti hinsyante. So, Pindadana Anugraha is various rituals that are done for departed souls, right? So, through Vedic karma, we actually bless the generations before and after. And all that would be made futile. They would be nullified. That is the idea. And the next mantra now will say that because the Upanishad doesn't want to suddenly pull the carpet below your feet, it now says that if you do properly, which is very difficult, then once more, we don't go back on that, what we said before. Once more, we would say that you will go to heaven. In fact, you will be received in heaven by the servants of Indra. So the next mantras talk about how right performance is to be done and how the rays of sun, this could be both poetic and with some literally true meaning. Rays of the sun take the soul up to the heaven, to even that other space-time domain, if I connect to what I said before. And there is a very interesting expression. When you reach heaven, the gates of heaven, the devatas over there, the servants or people in particular positions, They come, ehi, ehi, please come, welcome, welcome to heaven. What we call these days a red carpet welcome will be arranged for you. There is no doubt at all. They not only welcome you in a grand manner, they also speak very pleasing words. We are waiting for you. It is so wonderful that you have come. You are joining us in heaven will certainly add value to all life of all of us. All such very pleasing words. Priyam vacham abhivadantyaha archayantyaha. So all of them, the devatas, worship you. It need not be worship as such. Worship actually in Sanskrit, puj and arch. Both these roots actually have the meaning showing a lot of respect. Yeah. Some of you may have heard Subhashita. Swagrahe pujyate murkaha. Swagrame pujyate prabhu. Swadeshe pujyate raja. Vidwan sarvatra pujyate. There is a Subhashita. The word pujyate means, you may think puja. So, an idiot, murka is given puja at his home. No, it's not the ritual of showing arati, etc. Pujyate means love and regard are shown. Even an idiot gets a lot of love and regard from his family. After all, for them, it is their son, it is their daughter, etc. And in a small village, somebody having some wealth is given some respect and regard. The king of the country is respected, willingly or unwillingly, all over the country. But the punchline of that particular shloka, Subhashita, is Vidwan Sarvatra Pujyate. Especially if that Vidwan is with the excellent character, not just knowledge, intellectual wealth, but if he or she is so well behaved, so sensitive, so aware of ground realities where he goes, and acts with certain maturity and goes by universal values, then such a Vidwan, a learned person with the right conduct, great character, is worshipped sarvatra. Vidwan sarvatra pujyate. So here too, we will get that mantra. Archayantyaha means showing a lot of love and respect and regard and so on. You will be welcomed in heaven if it is done properly. We will see those two mantras, maybe a little more than that, in the next class. Om Namah Paramarashibhyo, Namah Paramarashibhyah. Let's see. I will today go from the bottom. What about the fourth mantra? Yes, the fourth and fifth together I gave an advance commentary. We will be taking fourth and fifth in detail. Yeah. Mantra 4 and 5. There was a comment here too. Yeah. See, fourth mantra is Kali Karali cha Manoja Vacha. Fifth mantra is Eteshu Yascharate Brajamaneshu. And today we saw the third mantra only, which was Yasyagni-hotram, Adarsham, Apaurnamasam, and so on. So fourth and fifth will be together taken. That's what I meant. Katyayani, who is impacted if fine print is ignored in Karma Vibhaga? Is it the Agnihotri, the priest, or the devotee for whom it is performed? Is it worth taking the risk? Yeah. So both of them are affected, because if it is performed properly, both of them stand to gain. They have benefits. And if it's not performed properly, if the fine print is ignored, both priest and the yajamana do not get what they were supposed to get, and therefore are in loss. Now, last part of your question is it worth taking the risk? You see, it is a matter of adhikara. Suppose we are not yet ready for sannyasa. We are not yet ready for that nishkama prema of Bhagavan. We love God, but our love of God is sakama. We love God and we want God to help us in so many ways. Not just us, our children, our near and dear ones. God, please help us. Somebody in our family is unwell. God, please cure him. Please give this lady, this man, good health, etc. So when we are on that level, where, to be honest, to be frank, we do have a number of desires. As you say sometimes, a number of things bother us. I want to sit and meditate on Brahman, but it bothers me, let us say, to see how so many are dying now. This morning in the news, some of you in the United States perhaps know more details. An OBG, that is a physician in obstetrics and gynecology in Texas, 28-year-old only. She died out of corona. And about her, it is said that she refused to go for a PPE because there was shortage. And she said, let others have. I don't need PPE. I'll just manage it. And though she is so qualified, she wore the same mask for days on end without even changing. Some negligence was there on her part, but it was heartbreaking. At the age of 28, she passed away. So, this question, is it worth taking the risk? Yes, if it bothers us, our own health, our own financial condition, or the condition of our near and dear ones, then we need to take the risk, because it is karma only which can, to an extent, solve our health problems, financial problems, etc. And it is karma only which will make us see its limitations. We have to go through it. If we give up karma prematurely, if we say, I learned that the karma is not good, we have to go for jnana, and so tomorrow morning I'll take sannyasa. No, if we take sannyasa when there is no true readiness, that's where I said frankly and honestly, then there are a lot of troubles. Bhagavad Gita makes it clear. Asanyatatmana yogaha dushprapa iti me matihi. There is a sentence. Those who do not have a high degree of control over their desires, over their jealousies, over their insecurity, for them sannyasa is extremely difficult. So my single word answer is to the question, is it worth taking the risk? It is. We have to take this in stride. We have to take rituals which are relatively simpler so that we don't make errors. We shouldn't try too many complicated things. Therefore, go for simple puja, simple japa, simple yogasana, simple pranayama, certain things which you are pretty much sure that I am not going to make a mistake here. And then you grow in your eligibility. And eventually, the same person for whom it was said one must take the risk will come to a stage where it would be said, don't waste your time anymore, go for the higher spiritual practices. Connection problem. See, I had asked people, say there was no. Okay. So there is a to Z user 1, that is his name here. So A to Z user says, Swamiji, you mentioned about lapses in Nitya Karma like Agnihotra. What are the lapses? I did not get it. Lapses will make our efforts waste. Yeah, Agnihotra, the mantra itself is giving. Adarsham, Apaurnamasam, Avaishwadevam, Achaturmasyam. So you please see the translation of that in your book. But Nitya Karma in modern times Some of you Sandhya Vandana, So lapses could be as simple as, you know, lack of cleanliness, lack of wearing clean clothes, lack of shraddha. You are doing the Gayatri Mantra, but your mind is somewhere else. You don't have much faith. You just do because in our family we have been doing. Mechanically you do. So all these are the lapses. And lapses will make our efforts, if not a waste, the benefits get reduced. There is somebody whom I know, he does yogasana, but though his teachers told him don't do it with after some food, he takes one biscuit, two biscuits, then sometimes he takes quite a big cup of coffee after that. Maybe after 10 minutes after that, he does yoga. Definitely, the benefits of yoga will be less. It may lead to some problems also. Empty stomach means empty stomach. Do yoga with empty stomach. But he violates that rule. Therefore, in each activity, each puja, each yoga, pranayama, you need to ask the instructors and teachers, what are the areas where I could go wrong here? So I gave the example for yoga. To have some food just 10 minutes before performing it is definitely a big lapse. Let me see. Okay, I started from bottom and went upwards. Now again at the bottom of the list, Vijay Lakshmi. So performing Agnihatra is to get an entry into heaven. So it is not Nishkama Karma. Yeah, definitely it's not Nishkama Karma. But please know, all of us right now are living Sakama Karma only. Our life is marked by Sakama Karma. Please know that 100 things that you and I are doing every day is for getting some comfort, some convenience, some benefit, some advantage, and so on. Who among us is into really Nishkama Karma? Actually, if you scratch the surface and see a little deeply, even those people who have joined ashrams, who have joined social service organizations, if you see carefully, though that may not be their intention, but the ground reality is they too are seeking some attention, some recognition, some support from the society, some praise, and so on. So there is the truth is there is hardly anybody who is into true Nishkama Karma. So you may as well do Agnihotra, and please don't look at heaven as something negative or wrong. Heaven is just like, you and I seek higher standard of living. Suppose somebody is in a small town having a very meager salary. He gets to know that in the bigger town, I will get better salary, better accommodation, and more than anything else, my talent will be recognized there. Will he not go? How so many people live there with cities like Bangalore or Chennai? How so many leave India and settle in UK or USA, Singapore or Muscat? Why do they do? That is all like seeking heaven, better standard of living, no hassles. And once more and last time, the aspiration in every one of us for for a certain recognition of what we are. Leave aside the car and the house and the swimming pool or the big paycheck, but you have a certain mastery on some subject and you would like to be recognized. So heaven is symbolic of all such things. It is not just enjoyments, not sense enjoyments only. It's an absolutely, much higher standard of living. Everyone would want it. So it is sakama karma, but not adharma. See, every sakama karma is not adharma. You know, if your daughter is studying very hard and she has made up her mind that she wants to make it to one of the Ivy League universities in, there is nothing wrong. There's no adharma there, but it is kama. She wants to shine. She wants to be big, go big, and all that. That's fine. Yeah. Kama can be within dharma also. There is an expression in Gita, dharma aviruddha kama. Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. There's an expression. There are desires which are not opposed to dharma. So Swarga also can be in that category. It's you are true to yourself. You want better way of living and better recognition, which you deserve. You don't want even an iota of recognition for what you don't have. You don't sing well, and suppose you want people to say how nicely you sing. No, you are not in. You are interested in people appreciating what you actually have. So heaven is like that. It is dharma aviruddha sukha. Yeah, looks like that's about it. All right. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.